Okay. Well, good evening to everyone, and we're going to start on chapter 11. I think the question I have written down for everyone is what principle rather than method do you rely on in your work or life? Um, and how could you lean into learning more broadly? So that I thought that was a really interesting question. Um, and I think my thought on that was the principle would to be work effectively and efficiently. And I got that from actually my church um, emphasizes that. And I like that as a personal saying uh, to work effectively and efficiently. That sticks in my mind. What are some other thoughts that y'all had on that first question?
Can you read the question one more time? Sometimes I just need to hear it multiple times.
What principle rather than a method do you rely on in your work or life? Um, and how could you lean into learning more broadly?
I think just asking people that have been further along than you, that kind of comes to mind is like, we hear about like a lot of times we think we want to figure things out or do them on our own, and we're kind of not efficient when we do that. And we are only good at, we only have so much time in the day that we can only master so many things ourselves and be like really good at it. Um, and so for me, I try to ask myself, is this going to be more time than somebody else can do it? And if I can make that money in that amount of time, then I'm like, it doesn't make sense for me to do it. You know, for instance, like mowing the grass, like I hate mowing the grass and it takes me so long, and I can hire somebody to do it for 35 bucks, and it would take me 2 hours and I make 25 an hour. So it's like, it's costing me money to go mow my grass, and I don't want to learn how to do it and get fast and develop the skills when I can already make more money doing my job, and it would cost me money. So I don't know, I just think about learning more broadly is just delegating and leaving certain things to the pros that can do it faster and better. um, in certain areas of life. And of course, if you want to take on projects, that's good, but sometimes it's not cheaper, even though we think we're saving money to kind of go that route. It may not be really. I don't know.
That's interesting. Very interesting. I just got through explaining to my sister why she should get her pharmacy delivered because she makes trips to she's older and she makes trips to the pharmacy twice a week, I guess. So I asked her if they delivered, and she said, I don't know. I've never thought about that." And I said, "Well, I mean, think about how much you spend, your time and also your gas, and they do that, they deliver for free." So then we got, of course, into a discussion of food delivery and grocery delivery, which um, I think those things make life much more efficient, and I can stay home and not go out to Walmart, which actually saves me time and is much more effective and efficient. Um, I think it's $10 a month, and you have to order $35 or more. But I order it at 11 o'clock at night. Usually, when actually during the day, what I do during the day when I need something, I just put it on my Walmart app and put it in my basket. And then at night at 11 o'clock, I look at all the things that I have in my basket, press go, and by 7 o'clock in the morning, they're on my front porch. So that makes I spend a little bit. You have to tip, and you have to order more than 35, but it certainly makes my life more efficient, and I don't have to go to Walmart, which makes me happy. So, but the principle is probably, like you said, uh, should I delegate this, or is it something that really requires my decision and my time. Can I
Mhm.
delegate it or should I keep it? Should I go to that store or should I get it delivered? And what's the cost? Yep.
Mhm.
I like that too. And I also feel like I operate from that efficiency principle. I feel like when I first was in the workforce, I felt like I needed to learn everything, like get good at all these things. But I've learned over the years, like to leverage other people's strengths and knowledge. And it kind of he talks about that, grow a knowledge tree. We don't have to know everything and we don't have to do everything. And it's like, learning our own strengths and learning the strengths of others and, relying on that, it saves us time and effort and puts us probably more in that effortless state when we're focusing on where we're good, what we're good at, what we know, and applying that.
Mhm.
Good deal. Um, all right. I guess we can go on to question number 2 was lift and how might teaching or empowering others multiply your impact and their communities where you could and other communities where you could lift by sharing what matters. So I guess the question is, in lifting, how might teaching or empowering others multiply your impact? And the first thing I thought of when it mentioned how does teaching others help, I thought, well, if you really want to learn anything, any subject, math, how to garden, anything, any subject you can come up with. Uh, to me, someone said one time, the best way to learn that subject is to teach it to others. And I thought about that for a minute and I said, oh man, I'm not sure that I'm ready to teach it to others. But I learned that in teaching, when you present something on a board or you present something in Sunday school class or whatever, when you present something, at the end you say, are there any questions? And what you're going to find out is at that point where the rubber hits the road, you're going to find out how well you know that subject. Like, how well do you know how to dye hair? Or how well do you know? Because when you put yourself up as a teacher of that, then when the questions start, you learn and they learn because you can always say, I don't know, but I'll find out.
Mhm.
And then the cracks in what you think you know um, start to show.
Mhm.
So that's what I found out about. It's definitely a test of how much you really know when you present yourself and let other people ask questions.
Mhm.
Did you find that to be true, Amy? You
Yeah,
find it?
I liked this one because I think it is so true because we really pay attention when we're learning something. Like just like reading this book and knowing we're going to talk about it, my mind is kind of like just more focused on actually like listening and paying attention or really understanding it versus if I was reading it on my own, I would probably be just kind of doing it at just like a lower level, versus knowing I'm going to talk about it and discuss it, I'm listening more intently, you know. And so I do think that's true, and so we do learn more, and I like to, and I think I like that example of uh, how smart that was, like when they made all those masks, how they just made a 5-minute video and sent it to so many people. So it wasn't like they were able to like do a video, like if I was teaching somebody to do something one time and then duplicate that just by recording it and send it to hundreds and hundreds. And so they were able to remove the process of having to teach just because they made it into a video form that they could send it to masses amount of people. Um, and so that was smart. And just, I was trying to just use my mind of thinking, how could I, do something like that where it's going to pay, 10 times more by doing it one time than doing it every time. And so, I don't know. I guess this kind of goes on with the next chapter, but I was thinking about like automating, like making like a 2 week menu plan that just keeps rotating so that every Sunday, because every Sunday I have it on my calendar to meal plan for the week. And it's like I sit there and I scramble, what are we going to eat, blah, blah, blah. And I could be rotating. I could have 2 or 3 weeks worth and just be rotating it. And so I'm just like, oh, I'm in week one this week. I don't have to do it. It's week one, or we're week two. So I don't know if anybody else has any other ways of how they kind of leverage learning. Maybe that's a little different, but I was trying to think of ways I could leverage learning, but I couldn't think of how I could apply it to my everyday life. But I want to know if anyone else has, because I would love to make my life easier and more efficient.
Um, I thought of a couple things. One, I became an art teacher just a few days a month, like 8 days out of the month. And I have to go around to every single classroom. And so trying to make the lessons be duplicatable for most of the ages was good to be able to use also ChatGPT to be able to like come up with a lesson plan and make it systematic. And I have to send all these things to emails to teachers. So just like get using systems that you can create and save time that way. And then the other thing I was thinking of making, residual income or having your saving time by delegating even to our kids. He did say something like, if you're not doing a good job delegating to your kids, or if they don't want to do it, or something like that, that you can like learn more about that, of how to like be more motivating to our children. But there's a lot of things that I let go that I'm not gonna like do a 10 out of 10 on a job when it doesn't really matter. And like who's gonna come white glove a certain thing in my house, And so delegating the jobs to the kids in several areas and just allowing it to not be perfect, I think is important too, for me and my life and where I'm at. So those were a couple of examples that came to my mind.
I thought about what you said about delegating to your kids. And one thing that I have 5 kids, and one thing that I learned in delegating to kids was the age that I delegated it. So I delegated at like 2. I put a chair up near the dryer and a chair near the washing machine, and I got them to do those things. And I said it was fun. I said, this is fun. Look what I get to do, and I showed them how to put the clothes in the washing machine. Or I said, hey, look what I get to do. The dishwasher's open. We have to take all this out and set it on the counter. I get to do this. You can do it too. And so that's what I did. And to this day, my kid, I mean, one son never got it, but my oldest son ended up um, actually going into the Marines, and he was my son who would get up at 7 in the morning, and my washing machine would be going, and my dryer would be going, and the dishwasher would be going, because from the time he was like really little, and vacuuming, he would not let anyone else vacuum. So I think it's the way that you approach with small kids, like this is fun and we can do it, instead of like, oh, I have to do that, because nobody wants to follow that. If you don't like it, why would they like it? So anyway, I hope that helps somebody.
Mhm. Thank you. Anybody
So
else want to share on this question? Mhm.
let's see.
I could share something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just thinking about, like, me and Stephanie were at the BNI meeting this morning, and every time we go around, we kind of share what we do. And I was just thinking about that, how we get our wording down. Sometimes you can make a change or whatever and keep it fresh, but if you have the basic, like, foundation of what you're going to say, it's, like, repeatable, but also you can, like, start to step into it and, like, memorize it. It's something repeat it, and the more we do it, like the more we practice, the better we get at it. So I also was thinking, like, even sharing reels online, I don't like to always talk or be seen. I like have hid my whole life, I feel like, and so I'm like coming into that more. But the more we practice, even if it's not a memorized script, Like I did a longer reel today and it was weird, but I'm done is better than perfect is what one of my coaches taught me years ago. And I really remember that quite a bit. So I can do the thing that I might not be wanting to do. So done is better than perfect and just do it.
Mm.
That's all.
Yeah, done is better than perfect. um, I think it's hard to get out of the, I think it's hard to get out of the habit of, is it perfect? Like, is my house perfect? Did I park perfect? There's a video reel of a lady that's like over 60, I think, and she's like, um, uh, I'm just part of the I don't care very much club anymore. And she's like making $1 million on it. And I think it's hilarious because you do reach an age where you're like, well, I think that everyone should reach that age sooner than I did, but done is better than perfect. And I think that's what she's saying too. Like when you get older, you're done with, it has to be perfect. Did I do it perfect? Is my hair perfect? Is my makeup perfect? Today I parked wrong, and the lady, I was like, I'm done. I parked. I don't care. I know it's not right. And this old lady that was smoking a cigarette in front of the convenience store looked at me and she goes, "Are you going to park like that?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to park like that." And I wanted to go move, but I was trying to practice what I had been watching. And I'm like, no, like, yeah, I park like that. That's how I do it. And she's and she just said to me like, okay, whatever. So you got to put it in practice. Like done is better than perfect. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first because you're going to ask yourself, is it perfect? But if it's done, you just have to like start that new habit. It's done and it's okay. Yeah.
I can like feel our stress levels like lower already, just thinking how much can drop off of us with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really nervous to be doing this right now, but I'm gonna be done in a little bit. And it wasn't perfect, but I got it done. And the next, yeah, and the next time I won't feel all this anxiety over doing something new that really stretches me beyond where I wanted to be stretched at, especially when you're older and change. Believe me, I know no one thinks they're gonna get any older, or maybe when they're older, this won't happen to them. But when you're older, change is it's so much harder. And even though I recognize that, it's really hard. Um, but you can do it too. So we can all do new things and start new habits and we can all stretch. And it does feel better just to say it's done and it's okay. It really does. Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll be so excited you did it after it's over.
Yeah, yeah, I did it. Yeah. And next time I'll be better because like next time I'll have my system set up better and I won't uh be so nervous like I'm on the phone and next time I'll have my laptop set up and other things will be easier. I'll make it easier for myself because right now I'm in the process of moving and lots going on in my life, but I wanted to do it anyway. Like even though it would be stressful, I wanted to do it anyway. So my stress is lowering by the minute. I feel like I have friends. These are all friends. They're okay. You're not getting a grade. So,
Well, good
yeah.
job. It's nice to meet you, Kathleen. I'm
Thank
Sabrina.
you. Sabrina, it's
You're
very
doing
nice
great.
to meet you. Thank you. I am nervous, but I'll be okay. So I can speak better in front of people. The technology is a little new for me. And
Uh,
um so I'm used to being at a desk and on a phone and all kinds of things that are back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth and we had phones and desks and went to work and from 8 to 5 and had sat in our chairs all day and stared at computers and all kinds of things that aren't going on so much anymore. So
You're
anyway,
doing fantastic.
I'm gonna look at the next question. You're welcome to go back, and if I miss someone, you're welcome to discuss something that maybe you missed your turn. I didn't mean to miss anyone. Um, and the last question was, what routines checklist, or systems can you automate to reduce mental load? Which I guess is what we've been talking about. The first thing that I thought about when I read this question was how my dad used to go through the house and yell two things. One was, why are you leaving the lights on when you're not in a room? Like, why is there a light on in the so and so room? And the other thing was, the air conditioner was either too hot or too cold, and when you left a window or a door or you held a door, my dad would always yell, "Are you trying to air conditioning the whole outside?" So in that vein, are you trying to, were you born in a barn? Are you trying to air condition the neighborhood's house? So the two things I thought about, effective and efficient, were one, I think that Amy has like this cool thing about her air conditioning system that she can set her air conditioner from her phone. Is that true, Amy?
So I have it has four different schedules. It has an awake time, it has a sleep time, it has a away time, away, asleep, and like home. So like they're just blocked up into different sections, and like and it automatically switches at the time I set it. So like the nighttime temperature, it goes to 70 at like 9 o'clock. And then I don't like waking up cold. So it goes to like 74 because I get up at 5. So at 4 o'clock, it goes to like 74. And then once we leave, like around, I think it's like 8 or 9 o'clock, it goes to like 78 because nobody's home during the day. Um, and so, of course, if we are going to be home, I adjust it down lower. But yeah, it's automated to where the air conditioning rotates at the day to certain temperatures that I have it set at. Because at certain days of the day, parts of the day, or at night, you want it at different temperatures. You know.
Right. I thought that was so cool when you told me about that. So every time I go and punch my air conditioner, I'm like, I don't have to be doing this. I could change this, and that would help if I would, because I'm not being effective or efficient with this old air conditioner. But that's one thing, and the other thing is kind of funny, I think. So I have a house that I'm redoing, and for whatever reason, it doesn't have electricity, and in some of the rooms. It's another story for another day, but it doesn't. And so I put up the lights in the bathroom that are motion activated, the little LED lights. And because I don't have power in that room and I needed power in the bathroom. So I put up the LED light that's motion activated. But what'll happen is I'll forget, and invariably I'll be in the bathroom, and then you have to start waving your arms and waving your hands for the light to come back on. So um, so I realized that that's really not, when people leave on lights, it's really not feasible to do the motion activated. Um, you have to, you're actually going to have to go over there and turn the light off. If anybody's found a better system to remember to turn lights off, I would love to hear it, because that's a problem for me and my kids. So, however you solve that, I'd love to hear that. Um, and I think the rest of the question was, what routine checklists or systems can you automate? And um, I think Amy was touching on that when she said that she wanted to automate her meal schedule. Like, she didn't want to have to put it in every week. She wanted to automate where it just rotates around. And I really like that idea. Are there other ideas that people have for automating? I'd love to hear those.
I mean, there's a lot that I use. Technology makes it so easy, right, to automate things. I feel like bill pay and like auto pay, I use that stuff all the time. Um, I think too, like with automation, I think about habits. I mean, it doesn't talk about that, but I feel like when we create habits, it almost automates our behavior. That sounds kind of weird, but um, about that. And like I use like texting apps if I want to text all my clients, that automates things. Even Chat GPT helps automate certain things. And I think he even mentioned an idea of like putting into Chat GPT how, like, what you want to eat, or I don't know. He talked about putting in something and then having it give meal ideas. So there's just so many ways that really saves our brain, because he talked about like how complexity increases our cognitive load. And so like keeping things simple and automating as much as we can to like save our brains is so important. So those were some of the things I thought about.
It's interesting with ChatGPT that everyone's using it for different things. My sister is 73, and somehow she's using ChatGPT for our family history research. So it's kind of funny because she'll say, well, I put in so and so as a great uncle, and ChatGPT, he didn't agree with me. And he said, I had to tell him, you're wrong. That's not right. And ChatGPT, he apologized to me and he said, oh, thanks for reminding me. And so now my sister is using ChatGPT, but she calls him he and she'll argue with him. And then she'll tell me he apologized. And I said, wait a minute. Who are you talking about? Chat GPT. And I said, oh, okay. You have like made him into a person. She's like, yeah. But he makes mistakes. You got to be careful. I said, yeah, Carolyn, that's called hallucinating. Like you do have to watch what he says because sometimes he's wrong. So now Chat GPT has taken on a living person identity at my sister's house. So, and I learned Chat GPT, but I haven't used it for creative things. Mm, I do use it for creative things. I use it to write a lot of articles that I used to not um, do that, but it's fantastic. It's a fantastic writing partner, I'll tell you that. But I haven't used it for things like meal planning, which I find that would be very interesting. And I haven't use it as much as I should. But I'm glad that you mentioned that. You mentioned it earlier too. Other people found ChatGPT to be good at um, organizing or making helping you with routines. Have you used ChatGPT specifically to help you with routines? That's my question.
I definitely have. And then also, like for example, it helps me with my math too. I had to like write up a schedule of how many hours I could do. So I was trying to figure out like, okay, how would I make my schedule to where I could maximize the amount I would get paid? And then to like how many hours do I want to work in the school versus prep hour time? Anyway, it's so brilliant in all those areas. And when we do a lot of like health challenges, when we create stuff, I'm totally using ChatGPT for that stuff. And so it will give checklists for like or tips or like so many things. And it can also write recipes for you and do all sorts of stuff like for my daughter's wedding that I've been using too. Lots of cool things.
That is, I think it's phenomenal. I think that I learned a couple years ago. I'm sure it does it even better now. But I could just put in like what I had in the kitchen. Like let's say I got a bunch of free mushrooms. Let's just say it happened to be a lot of mushrooms that I got a ton of free mushrooms or free something. It doesn't matter. Bananas, oranges, whatever they had at church and they had an over an abundance. And I could write in what I had and what I had in the kitchen, like honey or whatever, and cucumbers. Sabrina got cucumbers, but you can go into Chat GPT and you can say, "Give me 10 recipes for cucumbers. I also have honey, cinnamon, whatever else you happen to have," and it'll come up with that specific thing. I think that is a really fun way to use that. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting to me.
I don't use, well, I do use Chat GPT for some things, but as far as automating things, um, I kind of got started with Alexis years ago and like setting reminders, and she reminds me all the time to do everyday things like because I'll just forget sometimes some things. Like every morning it goes off and it tells me to take dinner out for tonight because I hate coming home and everything's frozen. And so it reminds me in the morning to take something out of the freezer and put it on the counter so that I can cook when I get home and it's defrosted. Um, so I do that. And then also she reminds me to do things that are just like monthly things. Like I'll say set a reminder for every day on the 6th to give my dog her heartworm medicine, you know, because I'll forget. Because I mean, who do you always remember like what day you're supposed to give your dog their heartworm medicine? Some people might automatically do that. My brain is doesn't work that way. Or things like change the air filter in my air condition. Change the air filters, you know, like that's every month or two. And so I don't automatically just remember, like, oh, it's the fourth Monday, it's time to change the air filters. So Alexa reminds me to change the air filters, give the dog the heartworm medicine, take out dinner for tonight, you know, just everyday task. That she reminds me my recycling comes on Wednesday. So on Tuesday night, she says, take out recycling. So I don't have to do it the next day in the morning. So I do it Tuesday night. So just little things that like my brain might skip over just because I've got so much going on. It's really helpful.
Uh, so Alexa is, can you just say, Alexa, remind me Saturday night, the 13th, or do you have to tell her, like, how does it work? How would your
I'll
instructions work for
say,
that?
Alexa, set a reminder for every day on the 6th to give Coco her heartworm medicine. And it'll say, what time do you want me to remind you? And I'll say 6 p.m., you know, or something, you know, so I know I'm home. Because it'll
Uh,
fall on different days of the month. Like one day it might be Monday, and the next month it might be Wednesday, you know. So I'll say 6 p.m. So I know I'm pretty much home. But I use Alexa to remind me. I have full blown conversations with her with her.
can you say like, can you say something like, Alexa, quit, don't do that anymore, or
Yeah,
change
I'll
to the
say Alexa,
seventh,
stop.
or?
Sometimes she'll do things and she usually repeats it twice. So I can say stop, but I'll usually just let her talk. But I have heard bad things like it listens to you and it's like not good. That's a little creepy, but I don't know. It's more of a I see the how much it's making my life easier and better as a tool.
That's excellent. Okay, ladies, I've got the warning that our meeting time is almost up. I want to thank everyone. Is First of all, it was very nice to meet each one of you. I hope to see you again next week. And I love you, and I hope that you have a great week. Um, and I look forward to getting to know each one of you better. And I've been honored to do this, and I want to see y'all again, and have a great week.
Thank you,
Bye,
Kathleen.
guys.
Thank
Okay.
you. Good night.